We're going to take a walk outside today, gonna see what we can find today. We're going to take a walk outside today, gonna see what we can find today. On a pretty little farm, the sun comes up on a curious cat and a pug-nosed pup. A brand new life outside the door. Follow your nose and go explore. 'Cause we're gonna take a walk outside today, gonna see what we can find today. We're gonna take a walk outside today, gonna see what we can find today. Such a great big world.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Views from the Edge of the Field. Kathleen Mitchell is obviously not me. She asked me to host for her. I'm Zak Leavy, Executive Assistant to the Mayor and Legislative Liaison up for the state. I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff, bills that are up at the state level, liaison, I guess my liaison duties, some bills that are good, some bills that are bad. You can call in, feel free, ask me. We don't have to talk about things that are going on at the state. I think we've been in the paper a couple times the last week or so. You can give me a call about anything and I'll answer it as best that I can. So first off, I'm going to talk about the legislative agenda. We have a lot of bills up at the state, a lot of bills that are good, a lot of bills that are not so good, I guess depending on where you fall on each individual issue. Before I go into the legislative liaison duties, the kind of bills I'm going to be talking about, I guess I'll use this opportunity to answer some of the, criticisms, complaints, comments, whatever that you see on the blogs in the Day or the Patch. I know you can get buried under those. I guess a couple of the big ones was, of course, my age. And second was experience. As for the age, not a whole lot I can do. I didn't really have any say over that. So, I am 23. You can't choose how old you are, but you can choose what you want to do at your age. And I chose to work in public service and serve the great city of New London. Second is experience. I guess I can just go over some of the things I did in college. I went to Eastern Connecticut for a political science degree. There I had 2 internships, one with a lobbying firm that was conservative, one with a lobbying firm that was more progressive and liberal. So I kind of got both sides of the option of the spectrum there. And I actually got to work for and against a bill in 2 simultaneous years, which was fun. First internship I had was with the lobbying firm Sullivan & Leshane. Great lobbying firm up in Hartford, where I was the lobbying coordinator. I would attend meetings, take notes, set up meetings for the lobbyists, track bills, see what the concerns of the different legislators are. And during sessions, I would track amendments so that all the lobbyists knew what was up to date. The second internship I had was actually for the State Vocational Federation of Teachers. You might know them as the tech schools, under the auspices of AFT Connecticut, American Federation of Teachers. This one was a little bit more in depth. I worked closely with lobbyists. I actually ran a social media campaign called Save the Vote Tech Schools after there was a proposal to turn the technical high school system over to local municipalities. SVFT believes that would ultimately lead to the dissolution of the tech schools, and we worked hard against it. We got that down to a study to see what the effects were. It was a big win. Also worked on various lobbying issues, FMLA leave for teachers, stuff like that. So I guess that's my experience. That's my age. I hope that clears any of that up for you. Now, first bill I'm going to talk about up at the state is Senate Bill 464. It was proposed by a Republican Senator, Tony Boucher. It's an act concerning limits on property tax increases. I know that there's probably a few residents of the city that would love this to pass and fly through. This is essentially what can be known as a bankruptcy bill. This bill in particular puts a limit on what property tax is, which is the only way municipalities can tax, put a limit on them and says that municipalities cannot increase by more than 3% annually, except in the case of a referendum, which would be a referendum made to increase taxes, which that would be great if it happened. I've never heard of it happening. I don't know of it happening. But I would see no problem with that happening even here, even this bill doesn't exist. What this does is really takes away local control. It basically, to bring it home, it would take away New London's ability to pay its bills, to pay its contractually mandated payments, and would essentially lead to a lot of cities running out of money. I mean, we have the federal government's running out of money. The state government's running out of money. I mean, I don't know why they think that cities wouldn't be running out of money either. So this is a really troublesome bill. I'm hoping it doesn't pass. I mean, I'm not going to be, lobbying any which way on it. I'll just kind of be tracking it closely. And seeing where it goes to the legislative process, if it picks up speed, dies, whatever. But it is out there. It's Senate Bill 464 for those of you that want to go to the Connecticut General Assembly website and look it up, track it, see where it's going. It's cga.ct.gov. So yeah, I have a big problem with that bill only because it really limits what municipalities can do. I mean, let's just take New London, for example. I know there's a little bit of controversy, and I think there were a couple papers sold, and there might have been a couple stories on the New London budget. Oh, we actually have a phone line 1, and I'll go to it right now. Hello?
Zach.
Yes?
Zach, it's Kathleen.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
What are you doing there? I told you next week.
Oh.
No, tell Mary Jane to open the door. It's cold out here.
Mary Jane, open the door. It's cold out there.
No, I was only kidding.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry, Zach.
You know, I'm a rookie at this. You can't pull that on me.
I was only kidding. I thought maybe you'd be a little bit nervous, and I should help you relax.
This is why I always love reading your emails, because you never know what you're going to get.
All right. Well, what are you talking about? State bills? I just want to know why it seems like the mayor's always picking on the fire department. I'm going to hang up, Zach.
Okay.
You can answer. That's what I think. It seems like he's just always picking on those poor guys. Hey, Zach, I'll see you later.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, why it could be perceived that the mayor, Finizio, my boss, is picking on firemen. I can tell you just from personally knowing him, working with him closely, spending a lot of time with him, he's absolutely in no way anti-fireman. He's actually probably one of the most pro-firefighter people I've ever met, and it goes back to his time in New York City and his experience in September 11th. I mean, he's trying to give him a pension. I mean, I come from a labor family. I know people in the labor movement, and the one thing nobody's getting anywhere ever anymore is pensions. A pension is an absolute great retirement, and firefighters absolutely deserve it because they serve our city selflessly. They run into burning buildings to save us. They're absolute heroes. And he's giving them a pension, but New London also has to pay their bills, and we can't go insolvent, and we have to remain in control of our own finances. And Mayor Finizio, the whole entire administration has been working closely with the fire union leadership, the department leadership, trying to constrain their budget. Right now, there's, as he talked about on Tuesday at the council meeting, there is an overage in that department. that we're not going to ever be able to get below. We could cut all spending for the rest of the year in that department, and we will not get below that number. And that was because, during the whole debate, the contentious time with the whole tentative agreement, layoffs, no layoffs, tentative agreement passes, tabled, that whole entire saga that we all saw play out publicly, they were still running on 18 minimum manning, and they didn't have the overtime to pay for it. So that's an overage that is not ever going to be decreased. We can't go back in time and reduce that. So he is working very closely with the union, the department, to bring that cost down and to just basically help bring the budget into balance. And he's absolutely never picking on the fire department. I mean, he gave them a pension plan. I don't really know how else to say that. Anyone that's ever worked anywhere knows how great a pension is for retirement, and how our firemen never had that, and certainly deserve it. They deserve to retire with dignity. Also, you don't have to call them about the state stuff. You can call me about anything. You got an issue with my boss, you got an issue with me, you want to compliment my boss, I'm sure that's always appreciated. You want to compliment any of the administration, or just any comments about any general things going on in the city, I'd be happy to answer the best I can, talk to you about it, do whatever I can to talk about that. But back to, I guess, one of my duties, the legislative liaison. One bill that's up is Senate Bill 311, and it's actually a great bill because it helps us determine our revenues and our own budgets. One of the problems that we have is we pass a budget, we get it all set, state passes their budget, and all of a sudden we get cut back in revenue. So it gives us a clearer picture on what kind of money we're going to be getting from the state. I mean, I know this year we're having another shortfall from the state in revenue, and this bill would help at least reduce those risks. It's a Senate Bill 311, and it basically says that the General Assembly to adopt portions of the state budget appropriating aid to municipalities, which is one of the things that we've seen decrease over the years. One thing I think we even saw decrease this year, appropriating aid to municipalities no later than March 1st of any calendar year. This would be a huge, huge help to any municipality, and would really go a long way in helping us create our own budget. We got another call on line 1, I think line 2 as well, but I'll go to line 1 first. Hello?
Yeah, this is kind of a dumb call, Zach, but I want you to know that you have won second prize for having Kathleen Mitchell be your first caller. First prize would have been she didn't call. And I'm sure I'll hear from her on that, too. But
I think this could be her on line 2, actually.
Yeah, probably is. Okay, or Dennis, one or the other. But you're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thanks, Clark. Always a pleasure. And going to you on line 2. Ooh. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
Good. Hey, I'm just concerned. I see there was a few appointments in the fire department. Are there going to be any appointments in the police department coming up, you know of?
Yes, the police department was also, they just had their tests for promotions to, I think there's 1 sergeant and 2 lieutenants, or 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants. I can't remember which one it is. But there's been a delay because one of the applicants wanted to review their scores, and we didn't want to promote one guy and then find out that another guy was more qualified, so we just decided we'll hold off and wait until everything's settled out, and then the promotion will be made by the mayor. So that way there's no, promotion, demotion kind of stuff. We just want to make sure everyone fully believes that everything was fair and square and before any promotions were made.
When is that coming up on the promotions in the police department?
I'm not sure on a specific date. I think one of the applicants just looked at their score, I believe, yesterday. So I believe it'll be coming in the next few weeks, probably the next month. I'm not sure of an exact date yet. We have to just wait until everything's all settled with that, with the guy reviewing the score.
Are they going to add any more patrolmen to the department, by the way?
I don't know if you watched the council meeting on Tuesday night, but that's actually, we're going to be holding some of those patrol positions vacant to try to reduce costs in the police department and help our overall budget and use some of that money to cover shortfalls in other areas.
Okay, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. All right, so yeah, I mean, that's actually fairly relevant. The last thing I said to the bill I was talking about, you know, the revenues we have shortfall coming from the state. I think it's, you know, $241,000, I believe, in pilot funds, and it's not looking like it's going to get any better. I mean, we have the governor talking, who said it, the House Speaker who said it, you know, towns, municipalities, cities. We're not going to get by and be held harmless in this budget session. I mean, I know I'm up there. You know, mayor will be up there. But we're fighting with every other municipality, trying, you know, dealing with a lot of the same stuff we are with our budget, trying to keep as much money as we can coming from the state to help us. But that's, you know, that's some of the challenges we face is when we get revenue shortfalls from the state, because then we have to reduce expenses in other departments. You know, obviously, you know, the administration has said publicly, you know, we want to increase patrol strength. We want to increase, you know, public safety. We want New London to be, you know, a safe city to live in, which I believe, you know, I live downtown, and I've never had an issue. I've never felt unsafe. I know a lot of it is also perception from decades past when it was bad. You know, before I lived here, you know, probably before I was even born, about how unsafe New London was. But really, it's not. I mean, we just put out the statistics. You know, Part 1 crimes, you know, which is murders, you know, rape, sexual assault, all that stuff, is actually down, which is huge. And I think that that's an important thing for the region to know, because we want the region coming in and spending money at our businesses, at our restaurants, you know, at our bars, going to see the art galleries, going, you know, having a good experience here, so that they'll want to come back again. You know, I think that that's one of the most important things we can do, is make sure that we don't have to do cuts mid-year, you know, 3/4 of the year through, 1/4 of the year through, because all of a sudden we get a call in January or May, you know, hey, we're not giving you as much money as we thought. And then we're kind of left holding the bag, and it's a lot of tough decisions to make. And it's not a lot of fun, but it's necessary, because you got to stop the bleeding. And hopefully this bill 311 in the Senate, Senate Bill 311, will help make that problem a little bit easier and reduce the kind of damage that we see from states, from the state, you know, reducing their aid, and us having, and the budget timetables not matching up. There is good news, though. There are a lot of bills that have been proposed that deal with fully funding pilot. I know with the Coast Guard Academy, Connecticut College, Mitchell, L&M, nonprofits, you know, we've talked about this a lot. Everyone knows it. We're a small city, and half of it's not taxable because they're nonprofit or private colleges, whatever. So there's a lot of bills from across the aisle, actually Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter, that want to fully fund pilot. It wants the state to fully commit 100% to giving us money for, you know, as much money as they can for those entities, and really help decrease the tax burden on property owners in the city that I know are struggling. I mean, it's tough times. Everyone's struggling right now, and but it's also unfortunate reality. There's also another good bill, alternative revenue sources for municipalities. Right now, the only way municipalities can actually tax people is through property tax, which is a regressive tax. You know, the federal government, the state can kind of tax in brackets on income. You know, if you make $30,000, you'll get taxed, hopefully, less than somebody that makes $300,000, who will get taxed less than somebody who makes $3 million, and it goes up and up and up. But property taxes are regressive. They hit everyone exactly the same. no matter if you're making $25,000, $250,000, if you're living on a beautiful house down at the southern tip on Mott Avenue, or if you're living on the north side of town, on Granite Street or Adelaide. So this is, I think, a good bill. It will allow municipalities to really kind of look at a lot of other options. What are ways that we can not make the taxing so regressive? I know a lot of people always talk about my generation will be the first generation to have a lower quality of life than the generation before us. I can tell you right now that that's probably absolutely true. I'm looking to buy a house in New London. I know I'm not a property owner. I own a car, pay taxes in New London, but I don't own a house. And I'm looking through houses in New London, and one of the things you got to look at is a house I can afford in 40 years. I don't think that's something my parents or any of you watching at home might have thought about at 23 is, geez, am I going to be able to afford this at 63? So this bill, 58, it was actually proposed by a guy, Senator Meyer from Guilford, and it will really just open up the options that municipalities can have to make the tax burden a little fairer and a little more progressive, which is always good. On a side note, Senator Meyer actually has a couple bills that are a little unconventional. One is to allow assisted suicide in the state. I'm not gonna lobby anyway on that. I'm not even touching that bill. And the other one is to make the legislature a unicameral legislature, which means you only have one body instead of a Senate and a House. You just have kind of one Senate, essentially, that represents the entire state. So we'll see. This guy has a good idea with this one. Not so sure about the other ones, but we'll see as that goes on. Other bills that are in, there's actually a bill by a guy, Representative Miller, who's a Republican outside of Stratford, Shelton area. I know a lot of people always think, if you're a Democrat, you can't say a Republican has a good idea. If you're a Republican, you can't say a Democrat has a good idea. My policy up there is I don't care who introduces it. I don't care what party they belong to. I don't care what creed they are, whatever. If you have a good idea and it's a good bill and it's going to help bring positive things to the city of New London, then that's 100% for it. That is huge. We live in a time and we live in such a financial burden and difficulty across not just our city but our state that you really can't hold an R or a D in front of your name as saying, oh well, I'm not going to be for this bill because you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat, and your bill, if you pass this bill, you'll look good and we'll look bad, kind of stuff. But I'll get to that bill in a second. We actually have phone line 1. Good evening, this is Zach.
Kathleen, you look so different.
I do what I can. I try to get a haircut.
Hi, Zach. This is Dennis from New London.
Hey, Dennis. Always good talking to you. How you doing, bud?
Good. I have, you were talking about pilot money and stuff like this, and I've been noticing at one of the council meetings I saw in the package about I guess it's called a sober house that was down at 800-something Montauk Avenue, which kind of surprised me being that far down that way. And then I got to thinking, do you know how many of these types of houses we have in New London?
I don't know a specific number. I know that we do have a decent amount of social service nonprofits, businesses. I'm not sure, whatever you want to classify them at.
So these are non-taxable places?
I don't believe so. I believe that they're nonprofit. I know that there's like SCAD over on.
Well, I know about SCAD. I was talking. It seems like we're getting like a new influx or something of these places. I don't know if they're coming from Stonington Institute or what, but you never hear about it. You only hear about it by accident, or it's buried in a package for the council meeting. This is one of the things that concerns me because, the more and more we're talking nonprofit, the more and more we bring these places in here. I don't know if we're doing it because we get, peanuts from Hartford for doing it or what, but this ends up costing us taxpayers money. Every time we put a nonprofit in this city, it means more taxes that we got to pick up the tab. I mean, am I off base here or what?
No, I mean, I do agree with you. I mean, one of the problems we have is just kind of a structural problem in the city, that we have three miles of the city, half of our city is untaxable. You know, and that does, you know, I'd be lying if I said that made life on homeowners and taxpayers easier, because it doesn't.
Well, you know, it's going to get to the point, if it hasn't already, where it's going to become a burden on you renters too.
Oh, I mean, I will say it's already a burden. I mean, people say, you know, if you rent during the referendum campaign, one of the things I dealt with a lot, that was a little bit of the ugly side, I would say, of politics, is saying renters don't matter, renters don't pay any money, why should they vote, that kind of stuff. Well, my rent can get jacked up next year by $100.
Yeah, well, I don't know who you were hearing that from, because a lot of us were preaching that the renters are going to be affected.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have a landlord that says, Jesus, I just got this, you know, I got a new tax bill, I can jack it up 100%. You know, I can make my rent go from $800 a month to $1,000 a month, and if you can't pay, you got to find another place to live. So I mean, yeah, renters feel it too, and
you know, and another side of it is you have people that rent that, you know, they may be like myself, you know, just a two-family house. You know, you're lured into buying a two-family house in New London. They tell you, you know, you're gonna make some money. It'll help you with your mortgage, which it does help you with your mortgage, but you don't really make any money. But the thing is, you get really good tenants, and you're being pushed into this position to where, you know, you got to turn around and up their rent because you just can't afford to take the brunt of the increase in taxes. I don't know what the solution is. I think, you know, people got to start thinking outside the box maybe or something. You know, I hope you can do good up in Hartford.
I'm actually, you cut me off before I got to one of the bills. It's actually deals with kind of being able to charge a fee to nonprofits, you know, that aren't necessarily paying taxes in the traditional sense of property tax, but paying through like kind of a stormwater, you know, management.
That's what I was just going to ask you about, that stormwater deal.
Yeah. And that bill, you know, it's been languishing up in the House and up in the General Assembly, because, you know, there were four cities chosen in the pilot. We were one of them. New Haven was the other, and you know, we couldn't really agree on the language between the cities, you know, what they want to do. And I mean, I'm not one for. I was up there for one day, and we figured it out. And what the language is, you know, because it's when you have a point person up there, it makes things a little easier than having, you know, a city planner go up or a councilor go up or another staffer go up. If you have one person up there kind of steering a little bit, you can kind of you can make an agreement a little easier to reach.
Well, you know, the stormwater issue, the one thing I'm concerned about in that is that you got these places, these large places, the Coast Guard, the colleges, the hospitals, probably even the sober houses, and I'm sure Stonington Institute is they have their people in Hartford. All these places have their representatives in Hartford, and they're going to be fighting to find a way to exempt them from paying this tax or this fee, whatever you want to call it. I mean, and you know, so if they end up winning, we're right back to zero.
Hey, you know, it's the beauty of democracy is they get to go have their say, we get to have our say, and at the end of the day, whichever side wins, and we just do our best to make sure that our side comes out ahead.
I got one more quick one for you, and then I'll hang up because I'm sure someone else is trying to call.
Yeah, I got a line too, but yeah, one more quick one.
A little while back, the mayor announced in the